Greetings, my fellow freedom lovers, sovereign thinkers. Thank you for tuning in to LO3 Podcast. My name is Craig, transmitting from the wild, wonderful mountain state, and today's date is Saturday, July 3rd, 2021. Yeah, just been doing a lot of stuff here, so I didn't really have time to do a show. Just got a lot on my mind, but interesting stuff is happening. Of course, they're saying John McAfee they say he actually committed suicide. His widow is not buying it, and many people as well. And of course, we talk about the witness against Julian Assange was a hired informant, and they claim he was involved in the pedophile community. Wow, man. Insane, right? Credibility is the best policy on that aspect. And there's even questions why Israeli troops are in the aftermath of the Surfside condo collapse. Question, I know Joe Biden, he is a Zionist, and Governor Ron DeSantis stated that Florida is a pro-Israel state. Come to business, all that. So you always got to look at those angles, folks. And you can praise him. He's the most popular governor, but always beware of the fine print, the fine lines. He's a human being as well. And I do recall one time I did a show criticizing him, persuading him not to sign the anti-Semitism bill because it does violate free speech when you can't talk about, be critical of a certain group or a state of Israel at public schools, including universities. Public universities to be exact. And I was very disturbed. And the fact is, I do remember that all of both Democrats and Republicans unanimously voted for it. So what that tells you. You always got to look at those areas, folks. It's just very insane. And I do remember doing a meme with him, saying that Florida's new official motto is "In Israel we trust." This to give you something to think about. Let that sink in. John Jay warned us about the dangers of foreign influences on Federalist Papers 2-5. And George Washington on his farewell address as well. Study your history, my friends. Yes, tomorrow will be these United States 245 years. That's July 4th. And some people, they were saying they fulfilled that on July 2nd. But it's just another day in the park. Yeah, hopefully everyone in South Florida and the state of Florida be safe from Hurricane Elsa? It looks like Elsa may be a tropical storm after going through the western part of Cuba, according to predictions. Okay, folks, be ready and give all the rescuers, first responders, some love this weekend. They have a lot on their plate. Okay, folks, there be safe. And pissed on that critical race theory propaganda, too. It just really, people love to dwell in the past, you know. It's like, I know the House of Representatives passed a bill that is to take down all statues of Confederate soldiers. Do they know that there's some states such as New Jersey, Delaware, and Kansas that fought for the Union had slaves? A little game of exceptionalism. And during that time, you know, the demand was dwindling. The demand for slavery was declining big time. The world was changing. Remember, it was a big global market. And of course, during the Jefferson's administration, importation of slavery was considered illegal. And even in the Confederate States of America, the Constitution of the Confederate States of America, made a statement on there on importation of slaves was prohibited. I can thank Marshall DeRosa for that. Of course, in the past, they're gunning for him, calling him a racist, which is a big joke. Folks don't need to open up their eyes and look at all sides of the matter. It was never treason. I never call it a civil war because those states had seceded from the Constitutional Republic at that time. It was an illegal war, never been approved by Congress. Is that exceptionalism? And here's another thing, too. Abraham Lincoln's wife was a slave owner. And plus, Honest Abe support deporting the African Americans, the Africans or the blacks, Americans, back to the West Indies, Haiti, including Haiti, Africa, Liberia. Okay, you can look all that up, folks. Yes, Abraham Lincoln was a racist. So we're gonna take him down as well. We'll take down all the race people that had rough edges. Take them all down. And forget about the past. That's what I want you to do, folks. This bogus, technocratic approved color revolution is stale, stagnant, dull, and unmerited. Even after that horrific event of the war between the states, 25, 30 years later, they want to do some they started arranging reconciliation with the troops from both sides and paid their respects of the fallen ones because they were all Americans. They're not teaching you this at government schools. And these paper activists don't want you to know about this. Difference is always going to be an issue. We're always going to go through obstacles. White supremacy is not the greatest threat. It's government tyranny. That is the one we should all question. Even when you read the Declaration of Independence, the main objective as citizens, or the people, the American people, their main obligation, and it is a heritage. Never trust the government. Period. There's no such thing as a magic lamp theory. And they're saying, oh, the Americans are staying on blood. It's worldwide. How many of you do recall the Holocaust in Rwanda from April to, I think it was July of 1994, 100-day genocide, 100-day Holocaust, between the political rivals of the Hutus and the Tutsis. They've been in conflict with each other for 400 years. Is that okay? How about during the time of the Bosnian Serbs? 600 years. Friction, too, with Armenia. Armenians and the Turks. For a very long time. Half of Turkey used to be known as Armenia. Conquered lands, all right? We're just an example, folks. Get with the program, or you're going to be drinking the Kool-Aid with spiked cyanide, symbolically speaking, when you least expect it. It will blow back in your faces. So all these little charades, synthetic movements, I just laugh, because that's not true history. We all got to look at the past, even with horrific events, because if we don't, we'll be damned to repeat it. And there's a lot of these imbeciles out there are just following that herd-conformed mentality. Don't be part of that. Contemplate for yourselves. Yes, I have a dog named Luke. If you hear him scratching in the background, he's just chewing on some food, behaving, but he's in real good shape. A lot more happier now, not being abused. Oh, yeah, so I want to do a couple here. A little history lesson and a Samaritan. And it says here, this will start off, this day in history, Flying Tigers of World War II. Terrorross.com. Always love her work. Yeah, you should check her out. It's really unique here. As it reads here, on this day, 1942, the Flying Tigers begin their last mission. The unit, formerly known as the 1st American Volunteer Group, had been flying for mere months, but its reputation was already one for the ages. In roughly 50 aerial battles, was never defeated. Perhaps more importantly, some Americans, the Flying Tigers, struck the first blow at the Japanese in the wake of Pearl Harbor. Years before American soldiers stormed the beaches of Normandy, author Sam Kleiner writes, or raised the flag on Iwo Jima, it was Chennault's Flying Tigers who rallied the country with victories. The Flying Tigers were the brainchild of former U.S. pilot Claire Lee Chennault. He'd be working as a consultant to the Chinese Air Force during the late 1930s, and he saw what the Japanese war machine was doing to the Chinese people. It was ravaging the countryside with bombing campaigns, killing innocents, and capturing major cities. I'll stop there for a moment. In 1935, nationalist Chinese government banned firearms. So, the Japanese Imperial Army or military took advantage of that, folks. Let that sink in. To all you gun control fanatics out there that don't want to learn history, want to believe we'd be a lot safer without certain weapons. Think about it, okay? You can look it up too. What if a foreign legion were created to protect such attacks? The United States was officially neutral at this juncture, but Chennault told Franklin D. Roosevelt on the plan anyway. FDR allowed American military pilots to resign their commissions without penalty. They would be free to join the covert effort. Roosevelt was skirting the edges of neutrality laws, of course, so he never signed an official executive order authorizing the creation of the Flying Tigers. The order was more of a wink and a nod, historian Bill Yenny concludes. Chennault trained the pilots at the British airfield in Southeast Asia. There would be flying Curtiss P-40B fighters, which most who had never flown before. American volunteers would be paid a salary by the Chinese government, and they were promised for a bonus for each Japanese warplane that they destroyed. Our boys, interesting there, right? Interesting. You know, the ramifications of cause and effect applies to one other reason why. One moment. So you see the ramifications of cause and effect, right? Our boys left American soil with civilian passports and false occupations in their pockets. Indeed, one humorous twist, future Medal of Honor recipient Gregory Pappy Bovington, hard-drinking pilot, carried a passport claiming that he was a member of the clergy. The Flying Tigers made their presence felt right from the beginning. They finished training and were the only Americans ready to deploy when the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor. Within days, the Japanese attacked coming China too. The Flying Tigers were dispatched. The Chinese city would not be caught flat-footed again. When the Japanese bombers returned on December 20th, they were met with a surprise American fighter pilots. Let's just say that it didn't go well for the Japanese. Americans soon heard about the heroics of the Flying Tigers. Last week, Time magazine soon reported 10 Japanese bombers came winging their carefree way into Yunnan. Heading directly for coming, the Flying Tigers swooped, let the Japanese have it. One of the 10 bombers the Chinese reports for plummeted to earth in flames. The rest turned tail and fled. Tigers casualties, none. The Flying Tigers would spend a total of 7 months in combat before their contracts ran out on July 4th, 1942. When the unit was disbanded, it was placed by the 23rd Fighter Group of the U.S. Army Air Force. The Flying Tigers never wore an American uniform, but they revived flagging American morale. And as many of you know, the grinning shark that graced their aircraft would become an iconic symbol of World War II. Happy Independence Day tomorrow. That's interesting because something I learned today. I remember the Flying Tigers, reading some books about this, but I was a young kid at the time. This is pretty damn cool. Something to always think about, folks. Things you know, things we learn. That's what America's about. Not this black, white privilege, ethno-witch hunting. Always want to blame one particular group for everyone's problems. Collectivism. To an extent, all frivolous. It's good to always study these things. That's why I always recommend people go to Tara Ross, buy her books, check out her blog, share her post. Very cool. It's what great thing about history, folks. We can learn a lot from it. I'm going to do one more. This is very cool news here. Life and tradition. From the Epoch Times. 10-year-old boy spots woman drowning in Florida hotel. Swimming pool leaps to her rescue. Says here, 10-year-old boy visiting South Florida has been hailed for his heroic action after saving a woman drowning in a hotel swimming pool. Waden Gurrier, 10 from New York, was on vacation enjoying the pool at the Royal Beach Palace Hotel in Fort Lauderdale. Yes, up the road on A1A. I'm familiar with that area. When he noticed a family friend struggling in the water. Waden realized the 38-year-old woman was in distress and immediately leapt into the water in a bid to save her life. I saw her splashing, and I was coming to bring her up, and she was like dragging me down, so I knew she was drowning, said Waden. This is 7 News report. Then she got to the deep end, then she started to sink under, and then she passed out. He said she had a medical condition which caused her to lose consciousness. The boy's family said, I just saw her stop moving and I started to freak out, he said. I took her to a 3-foot feet area in the pool. Then I called for people to come and help, he said. Then passerby helped pull her out of the water. Soon Fort Lauderdale Fire Rescue arrived, but by then the woman already regained consciousness, though she didn't remember the incident that nearly claimed her life. Proud of her son, Waden's mom, Corrine Gurrier, said that it was his swimming classes that enabled him to save the woman. I couldn't do that. I'm so very proud. He did a good thing, she said. Officials at the Fort Lauderdale Fire Rescue recognized the young man for his brave actions. I did nominate him for basically a field safe from near drowning, which is a rare in itself, but also more rare because it was a child that did it, said Fort Lauderdale Fire Rescue Captain Seamus Murphy. That was awesome. Homage to that young man. The good thing about it, folks, the reason why I narrate this, because humanity is not lost. There's folks out there that do care. You're not the only one that sees things there as insane. But don't let the fear and anxiety get to you. Life is full of obstacles. We've all been through it one way or the other. There's no such thing as exclusivity for one particular group, regardless of their race, color, creed, etc. We all have obligations, my friends. Love your neighbor. In other words, be neighborly. Respect others. Of course, you're going to have a few clowns out there. Don't get too bent out of shape. Just get inspired. There's props for everyone out there that do care. Do what's right. And people gotta need to start talking to each other. That's one of the areas everyone need to do. Even a person like myself, I mingle with people, always be courteous. And of course, you got to be aware also. So, is nice, what has occurred. And like I said, my friends, you all be safe out there on Independence Day. And share a little honor towards your neighbors, peers, etc. And that will be it. I thank everyone for listening. Plus, feel free to download and share throughout your social media networks. If you have any questions, comments, or anything else interesting you want to check out, whatever you do, please send your correspondence to Decorum. Furthermore, I'll leave the footnotes of these articles on my speaker page. If you want to contact me, you can email me at LokiLuckNumbers03@protonmail.com. Or if you want to, plus if you want to donate, you could go to paypal.me or cash.app/LokiLuckNumber3. If you want to donate to Terra Ross or the Epoch Times, subscribe, buy their stuff, that would be greatly appreciated. Once again, thank you for your time. Plus, always remember that demoniac resistance is healthy for the soul and can liberate humanity. Till next time, take care of yourselves. Keep on spreading the love. And may your guardian spirits be with you.